What's up, YouTube? My name is DJ, and I want to take you to the next level. There's a quote I always think about, which is, start where you are with what you have, and better things will come along as you go. This has been something that has been very difficult for me in my life because I'm a planner. I always want to have things set before I start them, and also just because I feel uncomfortable when I'm going into the unknown, when I'm doing something and I don't really know what's going to happen. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Something you need to remember: the most important thing in success in life when trying to reach a new goal or something you're trying to achieve is to just get started. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not always intelligence, it's not always connections, it's not always money. Oftentimes it's because successful people start, they get going, they just do things, okay? Now, I know if you're anything like me, you're probably, feeling a little nervous. Maybe you don't want to get started if you don't know exactly what you're doing. And that's perfectly normal. If you're feeling like that, that's a sign that you're a healthy, normal thinking person. But also, you need to recognize that if you never get started, the time will never be just right. So you have to just start now. Now, something I want to remind you of is something I read in a book recently, which really helps me when I'm feeling like I'm not on the right path or not on the right course because I don't know what I'm doing. So let's say I take action, I start something, and like every day I figure something out how to finally do that. Then the next day it's like, oh, now I don't know how to do this, and I got to learn something completely new. So if you're in that situation, this is what I want you to keep in mind. First, the Apollo mission to the moon was only on course 2% of the time. Okay, so out of every 30 minutes on average, it was only on course for 1 minute out of that 30 minutes. Think about how insane that is. When the spaceship was flying, every 29 minutes out of those 30, it was going the wrong direction. So how did they land on the moon? Basically, what they did is they kept making small tweaks along the way. Every minute they had to they were going a little bit off course, turn it back this way, going a little bit off course, turn it back this way, a little bit off course, turn it back this way, and they went like that all the way to the moon. This is what you need to remember, because if you just keep course correcting, you will get where you want to go. So the most important thing is not how you're going to get there, but just keeping the end goal in mind. Okay, the astronauts, the people helping guide the spaceship, did not know the exact path. They didn't know the exact route that they were going to take to get to the moon. They just knew that they wanted to go to the moon and where they were and where they wanted to go, and they were just going to keep guiding it as they went. However it turned, it would turn it the other way, and back and forth and back and forth. So only 1% of the time of accuracy at being on the right path took us to the moon. So what can it do in your life if you're only on 1% accuracy? That's something I want you to keep in mind. It's sort of similar, another example I want to give you, it's sort of similar to GPS, if you think about it that way. So when you type in a location in your phone, you want to go somewhere, you'll have a address or a route. It'll give you a route and it'll show you this is the way we're going to go. But what always happens what happens a lot of times, what happens when once you get on the road, you start turning, you start running into things, it starts rerouting you. Okay, because it figures out, okay, there's traffic here, this is a better way, or this road was closed, so we're going to reroute this way. That's the way it always happens with anything. So with any goal you're trying to reach, that's just the way it's going to go. No one can see it. Like even the smartest, most successful business people, I don't care who you are, it almost never works out the way you thought it would. Sit down and talk with someone who's achieved something great, and they will all tell you that, it's almost like they stumble into where they got, because they're like, well, I started doing this, and then I met this guy, and I completely started thinking about things differently. So then we started this thing, and now we started going this way, but we didn't realize that this was going to be an absolute failure. But thank God it was a failure, because that made me figure out how to do this. And it's just like, course correcting all the way to the top. So just get started. That's the key thing I want you to remember here. If you could do the same percentage of being on course as the Apollo mission that took man to the moon, 1% of the time, that would mean that out of a whole year, you'd only be on the right path for 7 days. Being on the right path only 7 days out of the year is the same amount of time that the Apollo mission was on path and they got to the moon safely. Imagine what you could do if you were even only on the right path 2 or 3% of the time, 10% of the time, which isn't even that much. I know this is easier said than done. I struggle with this a lot, trust me, with trying to figure out my path, what I'm trying to accomplish exactly, and no matter what goals I reach, what levels I reach, how much money I make, what connections I make, there's always another level, and it puts you right back in the same place, and it feels exactly the same. Once you figure out how to make 10,000, you want to make 100,000. Once you figure out how to make 100,000, you want to make 1 million, and then 10 million. just keeps going and going. And that's with everything, you know. When you're working out and you get in good shape, you still want to get in better shape. And if you're an achiever and you're a goal setter, that's just kind of your nature. So if you're watching this, you probably are like that and you want to achieve some things. So just accept that you probably will not know what you're doing most of the time, but that's okay. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you, that don't freak out, you know, just take action. Don't feel like you need to make your plan all the way. Just like a GPS, you have kind of a route started, but you will change it along the way. That's what you want to be doing with your plan. So you know where you are, you know where you're going, and you know kind of how you want to go, and then just get going. That's enough. This is why some of the smartest people in the world are not successful. It's not because they lack intelligence, it's because they keep thinking about how to do it better and better and better and never get going. Some of the most successful people in the world are not even as smart as the people who work for their companies, okay? But they are running the business and making the most money at the business because they got started, they took action, they just started making things happen. Okay? Whereas, you know, some engineer who works for Google might be a lot smarter than, you know, some of the executives that work at Google, or, you know, some engineer that works for a car company is super intelligent on how to design things, but they will just keep tweaking it, trying to make it better. Well, maybe this better design will be better for aerodynamics, or maybe this will look better and we'll get more sales. They'll keep changing it forever and they will never make sales. But there's people who are higher up who are just like, all right, that's good enough, let's roll, let's sell these things, okay? That's the type you need to be. Just get started, get going, okay, guys? If you want to get started, take action, drop it in the comments. Today is the day I start something new, okay? So drop it in the comments, let me know what you think about this video. Hit the thumbs up if you like this kind of video, if you like this kind of vlog style, helpful content. Also subscribe if you are new to the channel, I would really appreciate it.